Hello, this is Deb Joyce Meek with Delight of My Art. Welcome to day 2 of our Santa's Workshop Craft Along for 2025. And we are using the 2 bundles for this entire week here. We'll be live Monday through Saturday. We have Ornamental, Christmas, and Festive Friends. And I just looked at all of the projects that are coming up, and every single one has one of these fun little characters. I think there's only one that didn't have one on there. So this one is so stinking cute. We all couldn't resist. There's 5 other demonstrators that worked on this with me, and so it's just been a lot of fun. So today we're actually doing the projects that I created, so let's dive on in. If you would like to get your hands on this PDF tutorial, by the way, you can earn this for free if you place an order in my online store today through next Monday. We have a you can go to orderwithdeb.com right there, and any order over $50 would get you this 32-page tutorial for free. I'll just email that to you, the link. And if you'd like to purchase it, it is $35. And I do have just 2 full packages left. Those come with all of the papers, ribbons, embellishments, all the dots, all of the pre-cut die cuts, and these adorable elf pants with all of your goodies stuffed inside, plus a little gift. So if you wanted to click the link in the description, or it's actually, I made it easier, it's craftalong.orderwithdeb.com for the tutorials or the full one, so you can pick either one. The full one obviously comes with the tutorials, but let's go ahead and jump in. We'll just take that away and jump on down to the desktop here. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to jump ahead in my directions. I made a shaker box, so I can't wait to put this one together with you. All right, so this one we have, I'll show you the finished product. Right here, we've got some shaker bits. Now, I accidentally used the wrong shaker bits for the tutorial. We have the regular shaker bits, which is just gold sequins. But of course, if you have the stars, we have 2 shaker things in our online store right now. So either one would work perfectly. But then you just have a nice large box. Actually, you could probably fit some nice cozy socks in here. So let's go ahead and get the directions out to put this together. That's how big it is. So here's my hands. It's rather a larger box. And we'll go ahead and get you the measurements for this one. Good morning, everybody. All right, so I'm going to get out my directions here so I can follow along. And I have a real red cardstock. This one is 8 3/8 square. So 8 3/8 by 8 3/8. It's just slightly smaller than 8.5 because when we're putting the lid on, we want the bottom to be just a smidge smaller. So I'm going to take my trimmer out here. We're going to score this on all sides at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. That's how tall the box is, 2 1/4. So if you were wanting to make this box taller, you would just increase the edges to the height that you wanted, and keep the middle the same, 2 1/4 here. So now we have kind of a tic-tac-toe board where the middle square's a little bit bigger, and we'll cut this into a box shape. But let's go ahead and cut the DSP while we're at it. So I'm going to get out my DSP, and now this is the one that I have in the tutorial. It's using the Christmas Tags and More specialty DSP. So I'm going to use the other paper that we're featuring and do it with this one, the Ornamental Christmas specialty paper. So this one has some gold in it, and so I thought this would be fun. So this one is 6 by 6, and we're going to score it on all sides at 1 inch so that the lid is 1 inch tall. So this is 6 by 6. Yep, I cut that right. So we got 1 inch on all sides on this one. Again, if you're popping in late, the bottom was 8 3/8 square, scored on all sides at 2 1/4. And our lid here is 6 by 6, scoring on all sides at 1 inch, and gently because it is DSP, so you don't want to press too hard when you're scoring. All right, so we'll just gently give that a crease so that we can see where those edges are. And we'll cut both of those into our box shapes so we can put those together. Put my trimmer off to the side here. And we have our base here too. I'm gonna do some burnishing with my bone folder. If you're aware, we do have a Black Friday special for shoppers at Stampin' Up. And I was right, some of those things already went out of stock. So if you still wanted to add blends to your list, though, as far as I have seen, none of those have gone out of stock yet. So those are going to be the ones to take a look at if you'd like to add those as stocking stuffers or anything. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut up to the first score line here on this side down here. And then we'll go ahead and notch that corner piece. Don't notch anything that's a bigger rectangle. We just want to notch these corners. Just like so. And then we'll do the same on this side. So straight up that score line and then come in just a little bit on that corner and make that into a box. We'll turn this around and go this way. And the other side. I hope everybody's having a good day. Looks like we have less viewers today, but it's probably because it's the holiday week, but I will see a lot of you probably on the replay. So if you're watching live, go ahead and comment where you're watching from. That way we can say hello to you. And hello to all of you crafters on the replay as well. Maybe you're traveling right now. All right, so that's what we've done to the bottom. And in order to put this together into a box, I'm going to take my Seal Plus, which I've refilled, and the refills are on sale if they're not out of stock yet. I will go ahead and just add those to the tabs here. Oops. And if you rip any paper, just kind of gently tear that off. Our Seal Plus can be pretty strong sometimes. The little snap of the wrist is all it takes to break that little, they come out off in little sections here. So, all right, so here we go. We have our bottom of the box bottom. Just like so, nice and easy, just a box. All right, that looks the same. And now we'll go ahead and do the lid. We'll just put this off to the side. I'll keep this one for reference because we want to see that. I'll put the bottom off to the side. We're going to do the same thing to this one. And I think I can see this side a little bit better. So I'm going to do my snipping on this side. I have a score line right here. I can see it. And so I'm just notching that little corner there. And we'll show you how to do this shaker box. Let me know in the comments, do you guys like doing shakers, or do you find them scary, or do you like shaker cards? When's the last time you did a shaker? I like all of our little shaker bits. And they oftentimes give you quite a lot in there. So you can use them as embellishments or as shaker elements. I like doing a faux shaker card, which is just putting them in a clear envelope and then just kind of taping that shut. That's a nice, easy and quick way to do a shaker card. Okay, so now I have the pattern that I want on the top, and I'll add adhesive to all 4 of those tabs, and then we'll fold this one together as well. Everyone likes to receive shaker items, Linda says. Yes. They are fun, kind of magical. Okay. we'll just go ahead and fold this into a box here. And before I go too much further, I just want to test this should fit perfectly on my box, and it does. Oops, we want the tabs on the inside. Oh shoot, before we did this, we were supposed to cut a hole in this. So real quick, I know I use Seal Plus. We are going to cut a circle in our lid. So sorry, I got ahead of myself. I made my version weeks ago, so everybody else's projects I have made recently, but I forgot that I have to follow my own directions. All right, so we're gonna get out the largest circle die from the Ornamental Christmas. This is part of the dies in this set because it does like a big ornament. And so since we did that scoring, you're gonna be able to find the center of this just a little bit easier. But I'm going to put my washi tape on here just so I can make sure that it doesn't scoot around. And wow, that is really hard to see the pattern that I have chosen. So you know what? I'm gonna fold it under just a smidge so I can kind of see where that center is. And I think it's right there. So we'll just tape that. That looks pretty good. There we go. No harm done. All right, I'll get all of this out of the way. We're going to bring in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so we can run that through real quick. This is just with that circle die. Because you'll need a hole in order to see these fun shaker bits. Let me know if you're watching from the US or if you're watching from another country. I know a lot of our US friends are probably busy this week with Thanksgiving plans. Like it's kind of sticking to this now, so we'll have to be careful here because I already added adhesive. That was a little foolish. I was getting excited. I was getting excited to show you the shaker. Okay, we'll just be real gentle with this. And I might have to Google on my my plate here now because it's gonna be pretty sticky. No harm done. I think we made it. So now I have another circle I can use on something else. We don't need that for this project. Although after watching Melissa's yesterday, maybe we'll put it in the bottom of the box because that would be a really fun detail on the inside actually. I think we should do that. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put this box together. Okay. Oops. There we go. It's coming together. We haven't made a huge mistake. We made a little mistake. But a lot of things can be fixed in crafting if you forget a step or if you move too fast for your own good. So a lot of times you can kind of gently peel things apart and look at that. It looks like nothing ever happened. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more adhesive to the end here because it's kind of sticking out a little bit. There. All right, and I'm going to salvage this piece, and I think that's a great idea to put this on the inside of the box. So we are going to salvage this and do that. And again, we're taking this washi tape off nice and gently so that we don't rip our paper. This would make a really cool ornament too, though, right? Wouldn't that be a cool ornament with a gold little topper? Maybe we can add a gold little topper to the inside here. Okay, so I'm going to take my circle and right away I'm going to stick it back in my case here so I don't lose it. And now we need a piece of window sheet. So our window sheet here is a 3.5 by 3.5 sheet of window sheet, and that's just going to go on the inside here. We do want to be careful to add enough adhesive around here. So I'm going to just, yeah, I'll just add this. Because we don't want our little shaker bits to fall out. or get loose. I think I'm on my last little edge there. Yes, okay. So now we can add our window sheet. So this is going to be our clear window into the fun shaker elements. And before I drop that down, I want to kind of center that on the 3 sides there so I can drop that in. I don't want to move it around because if you have it touch the adhesive and then you shift it, you're going to get adhesive on the window, and it's really hard to erase adhesive from the window sheet once it gets on there. So just be careful as you lay that down. But now we have a fun window, right? So this could be used if you were just finished. You could have whatever was in your box could be showing, but we're going to do fun shaker bits in there instead. So let's go ahead and turn it back over. And I'm going to get out some foam adhesive strips. So we do sell these in our online store. You can just, I think that it comes with 2 full sheets of adhesive strips. And so they're nice and long. So just take one of those and they curve nicely. So just start that on the edge of that circle right outside of the window. You don't want it to come and show in the window, but we do want it to go all the way around with no gaps. So this won't quite reach all the way around. So we're going to cut another piece or take another piece, and then we'll just have to cut off what we don't need. And we will actually use that cutoff piece to support the rest of the lid here. So looks like we only need a tiny bit. Look at that, almost reaches, right? So I'm going to press that down really tight so that that is good. And then I want to take another piece here. I'm going to take one that's a little longer than what I need and kind of try to fit it in here. So now I can see exactly where to cut it, as it's right there. And I want it to be snug. So I'm going to cut it just a little bit longer than what it looks like it needs. And since it's foam, I'm just going to shove it. I'm going to shove it in there so it fits. So now I have a full circle of foam adhesive. It still has the backing on it, so it's not sticky yet. So this is important. We're going to take another one, and I don't want to do dimensionals because the foam adhesive is a slightly different height than dimensionals. And so we're just going to take little bits of this and just kind of support the rest of the box here, because we're going to put a piece of paper back here, and this way it just kind of all stays the same height. I hope everybody's following along just fine. You could do this before you put the box together. Yes, it's another option. I found it nice to know where the sides were, so I didn't accidentally put anything over the edges, so that I didn't make any further mistakes. So I think on the inside of this, my plan was to put this piece in here. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, and I'll add some shaker bits to the inside there. So this is the DSP that I chose. It is a snug fit. And so I found with my other box here, since that goes all the way to the edge, sometimes the edge of the box kind of sneaks its way in between there, and it kind of gives it a really tight fit. And so it's harder to grab the box off. So I'm going to trim this one just a smidge smaller than what the directions say, just to see what kind of a difference that makes. We're going to experiment. So this piece for the inside, this is the back of the window sheet, is going to be 4 by 4. So let's make it a slight bit smaller, but we're not going to put it on yet because we got to add our shaker bits. Now I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller. So let's do just 1/8 less. So 3 7/8 maybe. Just to see if that makes any difference. Who knows, it might not. So now we can get out our shaker bits. I gotta consult my elf pants here because that's where everything is hiding. Here's our shaker bits. And we'll just pour a good amount in. What I like to do is just kind of give a pinch and then another pinch, depending on the size. So this is not going to be too much. I'm going to do one more pinch, a 3 pinch circle. It's a big one. How's that look? That looks pretty good. All right, so now we have that. I'm going to take the backing off of these carefully so that this doesn't, if I were to really pull on this, all of these sequins would fling everywhere, and we don't want that to happen. That would not be super fun. I mean, it would be kind of fun for like that moment, but the picking up, it's like 52 card pickup. It's fun for that moment, and then it's not so fun picking everything up. All right, let's go ahead and stick our, oh, we got one more piece here. And make sure that the pattern that you like is going to be face down, because that's what's showing through the hole, right? And there's no up or down on this, I guess. So it doesn't really matter which direction you do. And this should definitely cover all of that space. So I'm just gonna try to do my best to center that and give it a good press all the way around the circle, because this is also keeping all of those sequins in. In just a second, we can turn it over and see if everything worked out the way I wanted it to. And we gave ourselves a little bit of a buffer room on the edges here, so maybe our lid won't be so snug. Ooh, that does look pretty good. That's classy with the gold and the black and the white, right? All right, so that is our box, and now we can decorate it. And that doesn't fit too snug. In fact, it's probably a little bit loose since I had to take it apart and redo it. So I might just add a little bit more adhesive here. That's a me problem and not a you problem. There, I'm just gonna pinch those corners. All right, so here is our box. Let's go ahead and decorate it with this cute little Santa and a beige ribbon. We just tied that in a bow, and I already stamped Be Jolly. This is one of our die cuts that's included in your little package here. I did this in real red. Be Jolly is from the Ornamental Christmas stamp set. So I'm just going to color this, and then we can add that one to the top. So I'm gonna get my real red light, and again, I should be getting out my scrap paper. Here we go. Because we want to color on scrap paper with blends. Our blends are 40% off right now. So I love, love our blends. I think they're so much fun to color with. And with that thicker tip, you just want to make sure that you're at an angle so you don't ruin that pointy tip, because it can reach into those tough little pointy spots like this. But there is always the thinner tip too. So you have a thick side and a thin side, and this side will work as well. The nice thing about coloring with alcohol markers is when you're coloring, you know, with regular markers, you get those lines. You can see where each stroke of the marker was. And with alcohol markers, that doesn't happen. It just kind of melts into itself. However, if you were to come back and color on top of it in probably 1 minute, then you could layer the color and you'd get a darker version slightly of that same color. So as long as you're continuously coloring in those larger areas, you're not going to get those lines. But even with this same color marker, so here's what the light red looks like. I can even use the same marker on here. I'm going to do some shading on the sides here. We do have a dark and a light version of every color that you get. You get both. It's usually $11. So right now it's like $6.40 or something for the two. So you can see there's some blending going on in here, even with that same just one of the shades of markers. So I'm going to add a little bit more Oops, I got into his beard. It does bleed just a little bit, so if that makes you nervous, you can always use the smaller tip. And we are going to add just a little bit of gray to the beard just for a shadow. Sorry, I'm just going to grab that. I forgot to grab that one. Okay, so he's got a little red in his beard, but we're just going to put a little gray shadow down here. And he's got his little mouth. I think I forgot to do this yesterday, but when I did the mouth on this guy, you can see there's skin tone kind of underneath his mustache. I do actually like that. So let's do that all the way down to that chin area. Do the nose, do the ears. We always forget the ears. I always forget those ears. So this is the ivory marker. Ivory comes with ivory and bronze, so both great skin colors. But we do have a whole skin color line. There's 5 different shades of beiges and bronzes and creams. And I just ordered those this morning since they were on sale. I didn't have those yet, so that was kind of fun to be able to get those. And they're going to be good not only for skin tones, but animals and wood and all sorts of other things too. So can't help adding things on a sale price, right? Yes, please. All right, so I just did a little bit of shading in his beard and hair and mustache a little bit. And I'm going to add my light black for his boots. I'm going to use the thinner tip here. Now, I have found if you don't use Stampin' Up! Paper, our paper is incredibly smooth. The blends don't work that well on non-Stampin' Up! Paper. I have found that. So if you have any blends and you're like, I don't like how they work, well, they're actually not very good on like cheapy paper. They're really good on good paper. Just wanted to let you know. So here we have some Wink of Stella. I'm going to add it to the red portion of his hat and jacket. There we go. Got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. Oh, and we want to add a little bit of color to his cheeks and his nose. I love how this looks. So just because he's been outside delivering presents, and that looks a little bold. It's cute, it's cartoony, but I want it to fade in just a little bit more. So I'm going to add the ivory over the top again to those same areas. And I feel like once that starts to dry, it just gives it a little bit more of a subtle look. And it's still drying. So as it dries, because alcohol is drying, it just gives it an even more subtle look. So you can see I did get his beard on there, or the red on the beard. Oops. Oh well. All right, so I'm going to do it this way. We've got our stars kind of going up and down this way. So this will be the top of the box. I'm just going to add this with some, did I put dimensionals on there? I think that's just flat. Could add dimensionals. This is on dimensionals, the words. So we'll just add this cute little guy to the center of this window. He's so cute. I'm going to kind of squish my bow so that it lays flat. And again, we did use the gold ribbon to begin with when all of us were designing, but that is out of stock until February. We have some popular items, and I think that that's okay. It is nice to know that we make some quality items that everybody wants to get their hands on. A little frustrating when you can't get them, but that's the way it is. It will come back in stock, and we can get more of that later. So I'm going to add my bead jolly here. Since the knot is pretty bumpy, I'm going to add a dimensional on the top left and the bottom right, maybe in those mini dimensionals, to kind of give that some support without giving too much bulk behind where that bow is. I know I love this set too, Mary. Is it so cute? These little critters, one of the figures, I should say. The snowman and the elf and the Santa. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so now we have two different versions of our shaker box. So let me know which one is your favorite. Let's go ahead and add this little circle part to the inside because I think this is going to be so cute. Oh, hello from Myrtle Beach. Hello. All right, so anywhere in the middle is fine, right? That looks good to me. Centered in there. And then we have our top. So let me know if you like the plaid box or the gold box better. So that's how those are looking. Very whimsical, both of them, really. All right, and then we can go ahead and move on to our next project. Again, this one is also created by me. We're doing a card. It's a little bit of a fun fold, just a fun little edge here. And we have a little elf in the forest kind of hiding. And so he's kind of hiding our Merry Christmas on the inside like that. So this is going to be the card. This is project number 4, number 2 today, but this is our project number 4 of 12. So let's go ahead and get out all of those pieces, which I have put somewhere off to the side to be safe, and covered them up with my stamp sets. They're there. All right, so we have a piece of garden green, and we get to the right page in my tutorial so I can tell you all of the measurements for these as well. Okay. One moment. It does help to have this tutorial handy. All right, so the card base here is 5.5 tall and it's 7 inches wide. I did go ahead and score that at 4.25. So we have a full, a full card here. And then this little short piece is the front. So instead of being 8.5, it's just 7. So you've cut off that 1.5 inches on the front. So I'm going to take my bone folder, which is out already. There it is. And we just have that. So the back side is going to be a piece of soft sea foam. You can see a little bit on camera that this is just a little bit, it's not quite white, right? And so we're just going to decorate this, and it's quite close to the edge. It just gives a real thin border. So this one is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And the front DSP here is 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. So you can make it be a little bit smaller if you wanted more of a border, but I thought this one looked good with just a thin little border on there. So that's where that's going to go. And so on this piece and on our piece of DSP, so we have a piece of DSP here. The other one that I used was the back of the, we used it here, I think. It's the back of this paper. Has those little squiggles. And so I thought it looked like Christmas trees. So I thought that was super cute. But since we're doing an alternative, we're going to use a different piece. And this piece is from the other paper pack, the Christmas tags and more specialty paper. And so this is actually the back of the inside of the shaker, the original shaker one. There's just little tiny diamonds in soft sea foam. So I'm going to do a tree on this one and die cut it with the other tree die. So there's 2 tree dies in the Ornamental Christmas. I'm getting all over the place, but in this Ornamental Christmas, we have this tree die, and then we also have this one. So we have 2 different shapes. So I thought, let's try a different shape. And this is the little ornament topper that we should put on the inside of that box, I think. Okay, so I have all of these little pieces. These 2 pieces I'm going to do some ink blending on. So I'm going to get out my scrap paper, and we're going to do that together. So we have some trees that we want to stamp on here. So see those trees? Those are from the Ornamental Christmas here, right here, this one. And so we'll just get out that stamp set and stick it on a block. can probably go on this skinny one. I'm going to make sure that the trunk of the tree lines up with the edge of my block. And then we'll get out our black ink and just stamp that a couple times on the bottom. So off of the bottom, I'm just kind of creating a little border here. I didn't ink that one up very good. No problem. Tap, tap, tap. Maybe a little bit lower for this tree. Maybe press a little longer so that ink has time to get into the paper. That worked a little better. Maybe I'll hold my ink pad so it doesn't flop all over the place. Tap, tap, tap. And we'll do another one kind of high up over here. And then another. We don't need to fill the bottom, but we could. All right, so that's where we're going with that one. We don't need the black ink anymore. Let's go ahead and stamp our Merry Christmas on this. This is from the Ornamental Christmas. This is a beautiful font. I do love this. So I'm going to put that kind of in the middle-ish, right there. And now we can get out our garden green ink pad and a blending brush. So I just have one of my blending brushes here. We're just going to add that to the ink pad and kind of dab it on my scrap paper before I start adding some green to the bottom of the page here. So the page is already, soft seafoam. So you don't have to do much blending in order to get some green going on. I just wanted to kind of add it kind of like the forest has an air of forestiness. I don't know. There's some magic going on in here. And maybe I should have, oh no, look, I smudged my paper. Guess what? Paper has two sides and we're just going to turn it over. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stamp after I put the ink on there. So let's go ahead and see. I'm just going to lick my fingers so I don't get ink anywhere. All right, we're just going to start over. Guess what? Nobody needs to know except for all of you guys that watch this that we did a little goof. And now you know if you were doing some sponging, you probably don't want to do your inking and then the sponging. Let's do the blending first. Now we know. That's probably what I did before and just didn't know. So I did this like a month ago. All right, so we'll just have it be darker at the bottom. See that magic happening down there? And we're going to do the same thing to this page. This is just a little piece of scrap paper, and we're going to do darker green. Oh, that kind of just makes the pattern kind of disappear. That's interesting. It's like almost disappearing. I never know what's going to happen when I do an alternate. It's always a surprise. This is like mystery stamping. By the way, we don't have mystery stamping this week because we have 6 videos. And so look what's happening. So the pattern's really showing through right now. Oh, that's really cool. See what happens when you experiment. All right, I just cut myself off. So yes, we are just not doing mystery stamping this week because we have 6 videos this week instead of the 1. So I feel like that's fair. That's cool. All right, so now I'm going to put my die over here and see where I kind of want that to go. And so we have this kind of gradient of green, or white to green really, with the little soft seafoam pattern in the background. I might even want to add a little bit more dark on the bottom. That is so cool. I didn't think that this, because this isn't embossed paper or anything, I didn't think that pattern would show. I just thought I would accidentally cover it. That is really cool. What a fun surprise. All right, so I'm going to die cut that tree out, and we're going to now do the stamping of the trees and the words on this side of the piece. And I'll see if I can't ink this up a little bit more. I did just re-ink this last week, but I've been doing a lot of stamping. All right, so we have one tree here. I'll just hold that extra long. That looks pretty good. Down a little further. Don't worry if you have tippy trees, because, you know, trees do tip over in the woods, so that's fine too. All right, so we'll just stick that one there. Linda says she loves how I experiment and create on the fly. Yeah, sometimes I'm just a fly by the seat of my pants. I have to have some sort of plan, or you guys would be here all day. Sometimes it takes me a really long time to come up with an idea, but we kind of know what we're doing. Sort of, kind of. We can pretend anyway. All right, so again, we're going to try this again. We're going to get our Merry Christmas on here in real red. Looks good. Okay. So here is what we're going for. Now we just need to do some die cutting with this little guy. I'm going to grab my mini because it just fits on the desk so much better. And we're going to get as much of that really cool pattern at the bottom there as we can. That is so cool. I was not expecting that. As you can tell, I just got really excited. Look what I did. This is why I love having new people at Stamp Class, because they get to go and look at stuff that they did and go, oh, I made that. I did that. And that joy just never goes away. Like it's just so much fun to see people get excited about crafting things and making things, and it's just my favorite. So anyway, all right, so here's all of our pieces we're going for. We got our little elf. I did already stamp and die cut him, but we will go ahead and color him together because I love the blends. I did do one extra die cut of the elf in just plain garden green. This is going to be the back side. It just looks a little bit cleaner on the back than seeing the blends bleed through the paper. And so that's a fun, easy way to have a clean backside. And I also did a quick little real red star for the top of the tree and the tiniest, cutest little bow that I don't even know where it happened to it. So we'll find that in hopefully soon. But there should be a little bow floating around here somewhere, and it should turn up. So it's probably on my lap or in my hair or something. All right, so let's go ahead and start gluing some things in. We've got our front piece here. If anybody sees that little bow, let me know. It's not on the front here. We've got our thin little border. We've got our liquid glue to have some time to scoot everything into place. My fingers are sort of kind of clean, so we don't want this messy side. We'll glue that side down. Mistakes away. Nobody needs to know. There we go. And then this piece is after we color this, we'll just put this piece on the back side. And then this piece is going to go up here with the cool little dots on it. So before I add this, we do want to just have this colored so we can kind of place this to cover those words just how we want. So probably there-ish, but let's color this guy first. Get my scrap paper back out. And now I'm going to use, we don't have blends for garden green, which is disappointing, but here's the workaround. Dark granny apple green is pretty close. And if you layer that a couple times on here, it's not too bad. It's a little bit brighter green, but I love this color. And I think it's a sister color to garden green. So we'll just do some green on him. And you actually don't need to color his boots if you don't want to, because they're completely hidden Here's his cute little outfit. He's got a little button on there. Little cute little elf. All right, don't tell Santa we've messed up the back side of the back here. All right, we've got our ivory color or our makeshift skin tone. If we had our other markers in already, which I just ordered today, we could have made a little cute little brown elf. It would have been super cute. But I don't have those markers yet. They're coming. Color his ears. I'm going to color his hands, the thin side here. We're going to pretend like those are his hands and not gloves. I don't know if they are or not. I'm going to use the bronze one for his hair. This is the other one that you get when you get the ivory, which is a nice brown color. We'll layer it on top again just to give a little bit more depth. We'll color his cheeks cute and pink right over his freckles and his nose because he's outside in the pines. And then go over that pink to kind of soften that pink and make it more skin color. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit more shading up here by his hair. He has a little bit more shadows over here in his ears, maybe down here. There we go. Oh, he's cute. Let's add a little bit more green because I think the more green that we do, look at, see, you can already tell it's a little bit darker because we didn't quite get to garden green yet. So if we go ahead and add one more layer, maybe it's going to be closer to the garden green. Granny apple green is probably the green that I color with blends the absolute most. That and old olive. I love old olive, but some people I've just realized that don't like old olive. That's pretty crazy. But garden or granny apple green, love, love, love. So it's not quite the same color, but it's pretty close. Close enough. And we don't need to color his boots, but if I was, I'd probably color them brown or black or something. In fact, let's put a little black button on him. Boop. And of course that hides too. All right, so we will just go ahead and see. He does bleed through, but nobody will see that once we put this backing piece on. Like so. I'm just going to hold that on the edges, and that will perfectly line up and adhere right to the backside. So now he's nice and pretty. Okay, we can put our sheet over here, and that little bow never turned up, but again, it's probably here somewhere. So just gonna, oh, it's right there. All right, and we have our tree. This is gonna go on dimensionals. Again, look at this pattern. That's just from blending on regular designer series paper. I never thought that light color would just pop like that. I completely thought it would just be covered up. That is pretty crazy. All right, I thought that I had more dimensionals over here, but maybe I don't. So I'm gonna have to replenish those for tomorrow. We might just use the edge of my remainder here and maybe some minis. But don't forget about the edges, right? These are prime dimensionals here. And just snip those edges apart or use them for underneath longer words. Okay. So here is our tree. And before we glue that down, I want to make sure our little elf, let's put our little elf here first. So he's kind of popping out. Oh goodness, he's so cute, right? Oh, we forgot his little wink of Stella. Let's wink of Stella his hat brim and the poofy white thing. Maybe his sleeves and his belt-ish area. There. Okay, so watch this. This is another fun tip that I learned online. It's a lot of stuff you can learn online, right? I'm going to put this on the back side. I've got a sticky note here. It's sticky at the top. I'm just going to put this over here. And I think that's covering him. Let's move him over just a little bit. I'm seeing where I can add adhesive to the back of him. So this is going to help me know exactly where I can add adhesive to right here. Isn't that clever? I just thought that was so neat. Not my idea. Somebody else showed me that, but I was like, oh, what? So clever. So now we just have to make sure that we're covering up all those words and it's just adhered to that side. Huh. He's so cute, right? All right, so now we can just add this tree here to the middle, and then we can add all of our little sprinkles, which I probably should have done before I put dimensionals on the back, but that's okay. Let's come here. Those are our deer dots. And we got our cute little star here. Let's add this with a glue dot maybe. And see, I used the star sprinkles, so I put a star in the star, but we could always add a sequin. That's no big deal. Oops, where's the middle? Okay, we can reuse that sticky note. We can get our tiniest little green chevron ribbon here with a glue dot. Love our glue dots. And boop. Oh, so cute. Oh, he's really up high in this tree. The ribbon almost covers his eyes. All right, so now we need our elf pants back. We need the elf pants back, so get all the goodies out. And we'll just start adding, I got my take your pick tool back from the other room. I'm gonna add these big ones. So we have petal pink. We'll add 2 of those. Boop. And I got the pool party. I like where I put them over here, so I'm just gonna copy that because they're spaced pretty good. Got garden green. I need to squish my putty to the end more. It's a push and scoot motion there. There we go. Super cute. All right, so we can actually get our sequins out and maybe add one to the top of the star. What do you think? Even though it's not a star, I think it'll still look cute. In fact, we could even add some to the tree area too. Let's do that instead of adding them to, I'm gonna add the little ones. Let's see, how about those? You guys ever pick up sequins but just sticking your finger on them? All right, so let's go ahead and add, before I put some glue on here, let's take a peek and see if we like this. Oh, this is gonna be super cute. Ooh, yes, yes, please. Okay, we do want these. These are heavy duty sequins. They're like thicker than normal. I want this one over here. There. Okay. So now we'll just add those on and then we should be done. Thank you so much for watching along with me. I hope that you're enjoying these craft along videos with me. It's just a lot of fun getting together with other demonstrators and coming up with ideas for you. If you would like to follow along and get that tutorial, again, the instructions for that are at craftalong.orderwithdeb.com. You can purchase that for $35, or you can get the full tutorial, or you can get it for free with an order at orderwithdeb.com. That goes straight to my Stampin' Up store, and orders over $50 will get the tutorial for free. Orders over $100, you're also going to get 10 homemade cards from me. So I would love to send you some homemade cards. I'll make sure to include some fun folds in there for you. And there we go. So let me know which of these you like better. All right, so there's our card number 2. And then we have our shaker boxes over here that we made earlier in the video. Let me know which one of those you like best. And I am so appreciative of all of you watching and following along, making comments. That helps people find me online here. And I'll just put my face back on here real quickly to say I hope that you have a wonderful night, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Tomorrow will be pre-recorded. This is going to be our family Thanksgiving is on Wednesday this year, so I will probably be live on Thursday on Thanksgiving. So I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great night, guys. Bye.